So Amanda Seals recently came out and she made some comments about Barack Obama and she made some comments about Kamala Harris. And the black community, as always, is outraged at what she said. To sum it up, she said that Barack Obama did nothing for the black community, despite voting for him 2 terms. And she said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing, about Kamala Harris. Um, Being a huge supporter of Israel, and we already know what's going on with that. So the first thing that came to my mind was, is she telling the truth or is she telling a lie? Now, I don't think everything that came out of her mouth was perfect or maybe 1,000% accurate, but there was a lot of validity and a lot of truth to what she said. And this is the problem with the black community. We're we're high off of symbolism. The symbol of what something represents, because we face oppression for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. We're attached to that symbol. Immediately, you see Kamala Harris, you see a black woman, you see her moving up in the world. This is an opportunity to put a black woman in a prominent position to make some effective changes where we could progress. Not only that, it's a woman. So now we're going to have a woman in office. And this can be awesome because it kind of breaks down more patriarchal barriers for like a woman to get in this spot. So we're seeing a lot of infighting within the PLC community, especially with the immigration Project 2025 type stuff, where they're snatching immigrants out of their workplaces, out of wherever they see them on site. These ICE federal agents are coming after these immigrants or people who look like immigrants. They're coming after them. They're taking them out. Now, either what Amanda Seals was saying was true or it was false. For the most part, a lot of the stuff she said was accurate. It was true. Right? Am I the biggest Amanda Seals fan? No. But the key root to everything is symbolism. You see, in symbolism, for so many people in the black community, that's everything. This represents us. We got a black face in a high place. We got a black face in a high place. Not realizing the black face is more is in agenda with the big place or the high place and not the black face. In other words, they're a part of the empire. You're just putting a black face on the empire. I'm old enough to know when Barack Obama became president, this was like a huge deal. I'm not going to even lie to you. It was like, wow, you would have thought that this was AI before AI. This was just like, you couldn't believe it. Wow, we actually have a black person in office. You actually have a black person in office. This represents hope. This is everything. And I remember one guy that I was following at the time. His name was Tom Likas, and he's like, man, I know you guys are really excited for the black community, but it's not gonna be what you think it is. And he was saying some stuff, and I was at the time, I'm like, man, what the hell are you talking about? He's just, you hating on this black man and stuff. That was my mindset at the time. This is 2008. And I'm driving on the radio. I'm listening to him. He's like, man, this dude's not going to be what y'all think he's going to be for y'all. And he said that back then. And I'm like, I kind of was like, this racist dude, whatever. I don't stop listening to his radio or whatever. His radio show. But come to pass, a lot of that stuff was true. Now, many people will say there were a lot of bigots in there that was trying to prevent him from doing this and doing that. And yeah, that's fine. I won't say he did absolutely nothing. I believe that that hate crime bill that he wrote, that was for black Americans and black people. So you could argue that the hate crime bill was something positive for black Americans, because now the feds can actually go after somebody, um, you know, that's a part of a hate crime, and you can kind of see that they've had these things where they've shown takedowns of like white supremacist groups that are actively coming after to terrorize black people, right? So I'll give him that, the hate crime bill, right? Even though it was painted as something else, it was something that was like a tangible, something that could help black Americans. I give him that. But what he represented was the symbol, and we got so caught up in that we didn't see that he was a part of the empire. Remember when he got elected, everybody was saying, oh man, remember before Trump there was Bush. Like, Bush was the worst president ever. He was worse than Jimmy Carter. He was just terrible. That you had people from other countries throwing a shoe at him. He was just terrible. You want to know what their relationship is like now? You want to know what Barack Obama and Bush's relationship is like now? They're inseparable. They're like, Michelle Obama is in pictures hugged up with the Bushes. Barack Obama was really, if you take race out of it, if you just take race out of it, and you just said this president, we just gone by a president with no identity, just their actions, you will be surprised. Trump, with all of this ICE stuff, him in his second term still can't keep up with the deportations that were happening under Obama. Obama was the deporter in chief, right? But at that time, we couldn't see it because we were just thinking, oh, he has this Obamacare. He's doing all of these things, the symbolism, all of these symbols and things like that. You see him, elegant swag. You're like, how could you hate on such a black man so intelligent, speak so well? You're not knowing that there's drone strikes happening in other parts of the world. You're not knowing that dictators who are trying to create their own currency, right? They're getting eliminated. They're getting taken out of the game. All right, I'll let you put together pieces of what I'm talking about. They're going to say they had nothing to do with that, but come on. Right? This is an empire. So there are all kinds of things. Let's not forget about bailing the banks out. Many black people, many Latino people, many POCs, if we're going to keep it a buck, many POCs were caught up in this whole, in other words, there was no regulation with the banks. There was just a lot of, the banks could come up with all of these terms. They could do whatever they wanted to do. They could create whatever they wanted to create, right? No less government. Let the banks do what they want to do. What happened? Right? The same thing that you had happen in the 80s, where you had these banks doing whatever the heck they want, having black people, POCs, whatever, caught up in these loans. And he bailed the people he bailed the banks out. The same people that's funding him, the same people that's funding America, right? The reason why America is so pro-Israel is because the people that are funding the establishment, the people that you don't see on television, right? You bail the banks out. But the people you get the short hand of the stick. There were so many people with foreclosures, losing their houses around that time. You got to think there was so much of a greed and people talking about start your own business and flip houses. That was a big thing. Flip your house and do all of that stuff. But at the time when this stuff happened, people weren't really paying attention, and the ones who were calling this out and people were that was criticizing it was like, oh man, these people are just hating on them. We as a community are hooked on symbolism like it's a drug. I mean, you see the obsession with symbolism and celebrity it's really going to be our downfall. It's really going to be our decline when you sit down and you really think about it. So this video is not really aimed to critique what Amanda Seales said, but it's more so a question to ask yourself. If you're in the black community and you're outraged at what Amanda Seales said, did you investigate anything that she said to see if there was any kind of legitimacy to that? Because that very Obama's election was kind of like what Iran-Contra was to the black community. I hate to say it because I'm not saying that there was any fatalities, or no disrespect to the people that were a part of the that were casualties of the Iran-Contra. I'm not making light of that, but I'm just saying mentally, the toxic nature, how it killed intellectual thought, and we just became romanticized into the symbolism of what the black face in the high place represents. That it's pretty much nothing we could do. It's like a drug that we're hooked on. The symbolism, the hope is our drug. Like if we get this person in there, we're going to be a part of it. Like, in other words, we get a seat at the table. And it's just not, it doesn't work like that. There's people that you don't even see. There's people that you have no idea that exist, that operate and control what happens. It's disheartening. It really is disheartening, because I feel like there are great thinkers, there are great people in the community, but this doesn't get highlighted enough because it's not popular. The blogs, the different blogs that you go on, the websites, the Instagram, the Facebook, they're promoting a certain popular ideology of this symbolism, what this represents, but they cannot intellectually break down things that aren't, it's not palatable for the average black person that's watching these type of websites to get valuable information beyond what's on the surface. It's just clickbait. It's your boy Brian Discerning Thoughts, man. If you feel what I'm saying, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, tell me what you feel, man. Even if you disagree with me. But at this point, the black community is in serious peril. And I'm out.